And we live.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 38 of the MMAHOLICS podcast, where we break down all facets of combat sports from MMA to boxing, of course, anything going on that's really newsworthy. And tonight we have the UFC Fight Night, Adesanya versus Imavov breakdown. They're going back to the Middle East with this one. We got an early card for us on the East Coast because me and Nikki live on the East Coast. This thing starts at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Um, so I'm gonna have to set an alarm for this most definitely. It's funny because I'm off on Saturday and it feels like I'm waking up again to work another shift. But hey, always blessed to watch the fights though, and I can honestly can't wait for this card. But how you feel about it, Nikki? How was your day to day, bro? Is it good?
It was good. I had a day off today, relaxed, played a little Minecraft, just rested a lot. Been training hard. I'm looking forward
Mhm.
to the card. I'm going to be watching it at the gym. We're going to be doing, like, this is the first watch party I've been going to. Um, yeah, I'm going to get there at 11 o'clock. The prelims are going to be almost over, have jujitsu. Um, Main card's going to start around like 12, I think. So we're going
Mhm.
to get right into sparring and just have the fights on as we're going. So it's going to be fun, hopefully.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it. It's pretty good. A lot of people are saying it's better than the pay-per-view that's coming up. So I'm excited about that. Unfortunately, we missed last pay-per-view because I was deathly sick. So we apologize about that. I was in bed for like a week straight, no working, nothing. Um, I'm finally coming over it now. I'm just like my throat still a little like on and off, dry room and
Mhm.
shit. So I've been like popping Ricolas all day, but we're good now. Glad to be back.
Nah, man, it's we're glad to have you, of course. And yeah, you already know health and safety come first. You feel me? I definitely didn't want you pushing yourself or anything like that, any of the sort. And I was too swamped with work anyway, like from my day job to my actual journalism writing jobs. So it was just I had way too much going on. We have never missed a pay per view before. Even rain, sleet, snow, or shine, it doesn't matter. We've never missed and I like to call them movies. We've never missed a movie of the Ultimate Fighting Championship ever. It was the first time it ever happened. It'll be a really rare occasion when it does happen on this channel. So we just appreciate y'all for just staying patient with us while we get our schedule back while Skinny gets back to full health. And now we have this card tonight, so we definitely appreciate y'all for coming through and joining us for this breakdown. Like Nikki said, it's been having some mixed reviews on this card. I personally, I like it. Every time they have one of these Riyadh season cards, they're always going to stack it. Especially for Turkey Al Sheikh, he's always putting, giving Dana a lot of money to have these kind of events on for his country. And they've done outstanding ever since merging with the UFC, like the fights they have put on, like most notably the Las Vegas Sphere Ultimate Fighting Championship 306, the Sean O'Malley card. Of course, we saw O'Malley lose his title, unfortunately. But the card definitely did deliver in the way that it was supposed to, being the spectacle that it was. But again, like I said, like Riyadh season's done really good in all facets of boxing. Like not boxing. Combat sports. I mean, they've done amazing in boxing as well with all the fights that they put on. My favorite thing they did was probably like the Wembley edition of the Riyadh season. I don't know if you got to watch that, Nikki. That was when Anthony Joshua got knocked out by Daniel Dubois. And it was just really
Oh, I
crazy.
saw the main event. Yeah, I did.
Mhm. Exactly. And like it was just really crazy because like the upset itself made it a spectacle, especially in a sold out stadium like that. But how do you feel about this card before we get into it, like storyline wise, prospect wise, and stuff like that?
I think there's some really good fights on here. I was talking to one of the guys in my gym, and he was kind of like just telling me a few things about a few guys, like the Mike Davis and how he won the Tiger Muay Thai Championship. That they held a little tournament for a free
Hmm.
membership at the gym, like stuff like that you don't know. So it adds to the storylines, and it's like one of the biggest things ever. Adesanya's fighting his first fight in how long? That's just a fight night. It's not a pay-per-view title fight. It's crazy. Then you got Magomedov versus MVP, which is stylistically, if you look on paper, is supposed to be a spectacular fight. You never know
Mhm.
how it is until the octagon shuts, but that's really big. And then yeah, just Saudi Arabia. I mean, they've just been putting on a lot of good products. I was talking in a group chat today to my friends. Um, there was some basketball discussion where I was just saying like I would wish Saudi Arabia would be able to dump money into the NBA, and the NBA goes out there and maybe has like a whole playoff series in Abu Dhabi or something. Like it's just amazing. I mean, NBA has been there. I would just like to see more and more sports go there because they have the money. They spend a lot of money for the UFC to come there. They have a great deal. Looks like it is going nowhere because I mean a lot of the fighters love it there. They love the fighters being there, so it's great. It's just it works well. Um, I've never seen anyone complain about the UFC going to Abu Dhabi besides fighter privilege. So yeah, that's it. I
Mhm.
enjoy it. I'm excited.
Exactly. And then the last thing I will say before we get to the card, of course, for the viewers, is that yeah, man, honestly, like in my opinion, um, I think they're gonna be together for a really, really, really long time. I'd be shocked if they were to stop doing business at least before like we hit 2030. I just think with the amount of hype they've generated just this year alone, and even then, like they have actual some of the champions are so embedded into the culture and the Middle East that like they always defend over there. We know that Magomed Ankalaev is fighting Alex Pereira at UFC 313. And obviously, if you were to beat Alex Pereira and dethrone him, I think he'd be a prime candidate to be one of the dudes that would always be over there in the Middle East to defend his title. And like it'd be really cool to see Magomed Ankalaev really get that kind of shine after going through all the hoops he had to go through to get the title shot the second time around and stuff like that. But yeah, like I'm really excited to see what they do this year in 2025. Like we know this is the first. Now we had the year started off with Fight Night, but this is the first Fight Night with fans that we got. We also have another one next month with UFC Seattle. But of course tonight we got Adesanya versus Imavov. And with that being said, we can go ahead and get to the action. The
Let's
action,
do it.
action, 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 action,
Before we
action.
start, we should come down here and look at the canceled fights because it's very sad with the fights that we're missing out on. Ikram, Alaskarov coming off that knockout loss to
Robert
Whitaker,
Whitaker.
bounced back, won a fight. Didn't he won a fight since then, right? Or is this his first fight back?
Nah, this is gonna be his first one, and
It is.
I was
Okay.
just about to say I was gonna be surprised that. I mean, you could say it's relatively not early. I mean, it was on June 22nd when he got KO'd. I just thought he'd want to take a little bit more time off after getting knocked out in the first round like that. But apparently it was passport issues, unfortunately, for Andre Muniz. So hopefully they can rebook the fight. I still want to see it play out. I thought like grappling wise, it was going to be really entertaining, most definitely. And yeah, we saw Abdul Karim Al Swadi. Unfortunately, Jordan Levitt had to withdraw. I saw him on Jamal Hill's podcast the other night for the UFC 311 breakdown that they did together. And he looked good and looked healthy. I don't know what specific reason he really had to withdraw, but hopefully he's doing all right, personally wise, with his family and stuff. And the last one was, of course, we knew that Abdul was also supposed to fight Bolaji Oki. I'm really, really high on Bolaji Oki. Unfortunately, he had to withdraw as well. I still think he's a good fighter. I know he lost his last fight to Chris Duncan. He got guillotined, he got submitted, but I still think he's a really good fighter. He's still really young at 29 years old. So I do think he can still develop into something even better than what he is already. And yeah, I thought there were some pretty good matchups. Like, how did you feel about him? Before we lost him.
What's up?
I said, how'd you feel about the matchups before we lost him?
Oh man, I was looking forward to seeing Ikram. I definitely wanted to see how he bounces back because I was seeing a lot of people just forget about him like entirely after he got knocked out, and that's what people tend to do. One day you're at the top, you're the biggest prospect, and the next day no one even talks about you. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen any post about him on Twitter. Nothing. No hype leading up to the fight. It was at the end of the pay-per-view. It was like the lowest fight, I think. I think it was the first fight of the pay-per-view. So or the main card, I should say. So yeah, I mean, I was a little upset it did get canceled, but if it's his opponent having passport issues, we should see him back soon, hopefully within 2 months.
I hope so. At least it's not like visa issues, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
At least it's nothing on his half, you know what I mean? It's Andre's, it's on. I'm
Mhm.
not saying it's good that Andre has passport issues, but at least Ikram is good. So
Right, of course. Yeah, especially in like, we know a lot of fighters from like, sometimes Russia and stuff like that from Europe will have visa issues altogether. But starting out with the first fight of the night, uh Hamdi Abdelawab versus Jamal Pogues. So this fight's really interesting because obviously Hamdi, the last time he stepped into the cage was technically 3 years ago, counting 2022, but it's actually been 2.5 years since he fought Dontel Mays. It was a PED suspension. I think it was like his second time testing positive. So it's unfortunate that he's had these type of issues while on the roster. But we know he has a lot of hype from his time competing in the Olympics, the Olympic trials and stuff like that. He's also I'm pretty sure he's the first Egyptian fighter. So that alone has a lot of cachet on Hamdi. Also has a pretty cool name too, I guess you could say. Just hopefully he can really just stay out of trouble and finally compete and really like live up to his potential that everyone wants to see him strive for. He's fighting out of New York. And outside of that, he doesn't have too much experience. The latest thing he did was a grappling bout versus Puya Ramani, where he got choked out in the first round. So that's not really a good sign for what's supposed to be such a high-tier grappler and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, two of his wins come by TKO in the first round, not over the best competition. And like his first win was by a leg injury. He has competed in bare knuckle. That was in Masvidal's promotion, Game Bread FC. And outside of that, like he still just has to just show us more. You feel me? Like I said, he has a no contest because he tested positive. So we're gonna see what happens. It's the layoff for me. He has been training, clearly. Most definitely has been training. He's always in really good shape if you check his social medias and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the strongest thing about him is that he has his wrestling. A really, really good wrestler, really physically strong. But we'll see how it works out for him in this fight. He's fighting Jamal Pogues, who is 1 inch taller and has a 4-inch reach advantage in this fight. He won his last fight versus Thomas Peterson after trying to bounce back from that McParkin loss. I don't really hold that loss against him too bad. I think Parkin's a pretty good fighter, and he's still undefeated himself, the training partner of Tom Aspinall. And I think with Jamal Pogues, the Stormtrooper, I love his nickname. I think he's really starting to hit a new level in his career. I think he's taken himself even more serious than what he did when he first came into the UFC. If y'all remember his Contender Series fight, he was cursing a lot. It's really conveying his emotion that he had. He really, really wanted to get signed to the UFC. A lot of dudes are always online joking about fighters getting paid like 10 and 10, 12 and 12, stuff like that. But he really, really wanted to get signed. And Dana, you could tell, really felt what he said man to man. And he signed him off of that. And I think he's looked better and better. Every time he stepped into the cage. Of course, he lost to McParkin, but I still thought he looked pretty good in that fight. He's a really good striker, has good teeps to the body, fairly well-rounded striker, good boxing, like good leg kicks as well. It's like, some people like to make fun of his physique, but I do think he's actually looking in way better shape. Even if you look at his Tapology picture, if you click on it, you can tell he's really starting to feel like that he's a professional athlete now. You can definitely see just like more muscle definition and how hard he is training. And he's 29 years old, so that's super, super young for a heavyweight. I still think he has a lot of time to improve and really just continue to hit a new level in the UFC. And Dana, they love heavyweights. They need more heavyweights. So it's a pretty close fight. Even if you check the Tapology odds, it's a pick 'em. Not like the voting and stuff like that, but the literal betting odds say it's a -110, saying it's a pick 'em. So this is a close fight. I thought that when the fight was first made. Um, but I guess I can go ahead and give my pick first. I was honestly gonna go with Jamal Pokes in this fight, y'all. I do think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns to keep the fight on the feet. He's been training hard every single day. He's been more active than Hamdi. Of course, like I said, Hamdi had the PED suspension, so we're gonna see how he fares. With the drug-free sport international, of course, the replacement of USADA. So. We're gonna see how he looks in this fight coming off the layoff. I mean, for that reason, I'm definitely very skeptical of how he's going to look inside the octagon. But of course, you can't go off that. Hall of Famers like Dominic Cruz say ring rust isn't real. But we'll see how this goes. This is the heavyweight division. So you don't really need speed and like that to excel necessarily. But like I said, I think Jamal Pokes is going to be the better striker by a country mile in this fight. Not even more power necessarily, just more like I think he's been training kickboxing more throughout his combat sports career, and I think he'll look more comfortable on the feet versus the high tier wrestler in Hamdi. And yeah, man, I do think Jamal will get taken down. I think he'll be able to scramble back to his feet. He knows himself he's the better striker, and that I feel like he knows himself that his opponent has the grappling advantage. So that alone is going to strive him to really have the kind of game plan to really sprawl and brawl. So I was going to go with Jamal Pokes this fight, and I think he's going to win by decision. I think he's just going to tire Hamdi out past the first round, stuff some of the takedowns, and just body kick, and just box him up. Good combinations. And yeah, I was gonna take Jamal Pokes in this fight.
It's a great breakdown. I'm on the other side. I'm gonna be taking Hamdi in this one. I'm gonna be taking the Egyptian. Really cool that we have an Egyptian in the UFC. I don't know personally if there is another, but it would be very cool to have a big name out of one. You said it perfectly. The UFC is in dire need of heavyweights. We got to get some contenders for Tommy because it's going to be his belt soon, and he needs a list of people to run through. Because at this point, anyone he punches, he's knocking out. So he's going to need some good contenders. But yeah, I mean, Olympic wrestler. That some of the recent Olympic wrestlers haven't looked amazing or outstanding in the UFC, but I respect wrestling. I know it's a very crucial part of mixed martial arts. And I know that's his advantage in this fight over Jamal. Most of Jamal's fights have been going to a decision, win or loss. So, I mean, Mick Parkin, it's not a bad loss. He's a great up and comer. It was in opponent territory too, so you have to give him the benefit of the doubt there. Wasn't meant for him to win that fight for Jamal. But most of his fights go to a decision, and if this one does go to a decision, I think wrestling is going to play a huge part in this with two heavyweights who will probably tire out pretty quick into this fight. I mean, Hamdi could knock him out, Jamal could knock him out. We've seen Hamdi get the 2 knockouts in bare knuckle. So they're going to tire out. They're going to have to start putting their hands on each other and grapple a little bit. I think Hamdi could get him down, lay on him. I personally think Hamdi will get him down and start laying down some ground and pound. So I'm going to take Hamdi to win this one by a knockout, by ground and pound.
Nah, great breakdown as always. And moving on to the next one in the featherweight division, we got Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. You could talk about this one, Nikki, and give the first pick if you want.
Yeah, I was looking around. I was interested in this fight, but I just couldn't find what I was looking for it. I saw that Grad had a big wrestling advantage. I've seen a lot of people, they're big on Lucas Alexander. I just couldn't find like the why they're big on him. I saw people talking about old fights that I didn't get to see. But I was gonna take Grad in this fight. I think he has the wrestling advantage, like I said, and I think he's capable of standing with Lucas Alexander. I saw someone talking about one of them having training partners or something. Was someone training partners with Tom Nolan or something?
Tom Nolan, the lightweight. I think Grad might have been.
I think they were saying they may be I don't know. I honestly didn't even make a pick in this fight because I was half and half on this one. I kind of ran out of time,
Oh
but
wait,
I
yeah,
was
they
gonna take
fought.
Grod
They
in this
fought.
one.
That's what it was. Yeah, Bogdan got knocked. Yeah, that's a
He got knocked
Bogdan
out. Was that on Contender
by him
Series?
on Contender Series. Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
that's
they
what
fought.
we're talking about.
That was a
I was
crazy
listening in the
knockout.
background while doing something else. I'll take Grod in this fight to win this one.
I was going to take Bogdan Grad as well. Our first agreement of the night. Want to give a congratulations to him as well. I know he's supposed to get married soon. If he didn't get married already, you said on his Contender Series fight. Back in August. Yeah, I said he got engaged. I'm pretty sure. So, it was something like that. He either got engaged or he was about to become a father. Either way, congratulations to him. I'm pretty sure he said he got engaged, but that's really cool, man. And like even the dude he beat on Contender Series, Michael Aswell, I think he's still a really good fighter. Even Dana pulled him to the side after the fight and said, like, you're definitely gonna like you're like the first priority call list whenever we need a guy. And he's a good fighter too, you know.
I heard that fight was razor close. I heard people were saying they didn't think Bogdan won it.
Yeah, like Michael Aswell, he's 10-2 now. He just won his last fight on the regional scene. And even then, like just showing like the person he beat, I do think that gives credit to the improvements of Bogdan Grad. He came out in that first Contender Series fight, really showing an ego, his youth, I think you could say. And that loss forever changed him. You could tell in his demeanor after the fight, like after the fight he won, when he was talking to Lorosenko and stuff, it just completely changed him as a fighter. It really just made him more humble. And we know, like, obviously, like the humility can be a massive benefit for fighters, especially taking a loss of that nature. Like I said, that was a crazy knockout, and obviously we saw what happened to Tom Nolan when he got knocked out by Nicholas Mata. So that's just the fight game. That's how it goes, and hopefully Tom Nolan like he continues to strive for his potential. And I still think he's a good fighter. I do think he will go to welterweight at one point, like be up there permanently. He's really really tall. For like 6'3", obviously for a lightweight. So, I'm really excited to see Tom Nolan's future. Only talking about him because he knocked out the guy we just picked to win. But we'll see how it goes. But going into this next fight, Jasmine Jastovicius versus Mayra Bueno Silva.
It's a goodie.
Yeah. I love Bueno Silva. Her fight style.
First female fight too in Saudi Arabia, right?
I think it might be. I haven't seen because they
fight kits. They have like the shorts they're like compression shorts, kind of with like a skirt front. It's pretty cool. Looks nice, and then they're both wearing the shirt tops. But yeah, it looks cool.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely not gonna let him show too much skin or anything.
Yeah, for sure. I think both girls already wear t-shirts when they fight, so regardless, it wouldn't matter.
Most definitely. And yeah, man, this is a great fight, in my opinion. Mayra Bueno Silva, the former title challenger, she's a big underdog in this fight, man. Like they got her really losing this one. I thought she was looking good in the last fight versus Macy Chiasson. Unfortunately, she caught a really, really, really bad cut off an elbow, devastating elbow, from Macy, and it cut her open really, really bad. Like skin was like flapping down. Like I hadn't seen it cut that bad in a while, but I still thought the fight should have kept going. Like I thought it was, I don't want to say BS when like they stopped it because their health comes first, but like I still think the fight could have kept going for sure, in my opinion. Also, Macy looks, she's looked good lately. Macy Chiasson, I do think she's really starting to hit her potential herself, honestly. And obviously, we know her skill set. She's a good striker, good grappler, excels at the ninja choke, most definitely. Like what she got Holly Holm with. Holly Holm, who's now in the GFL. Crazy, like I watched that draft that night.
We can talk about that later for sure. That's an interesting one.
Like
honestly, we should do breakdowns once that starts happening. I'd be down to do breakdowns on that.
I would love to, especially the first card. We're definitely gonna do that for sure. And yeah, man, like I said, she's a good striker, good grappler. Really instinctive with her skill set, whether wrapping up a submission or knowing when to pressure her opponent and really going for the TKO. We'll see how that fares against Jasmine Jasudavicius. Jasmine, a fighter with a lot of good pressure herself, a really good wrestler, really strong wrestler, good chin. We saw her get picked apart by Natalia Silva. She kept coming forward. She didn't stop. That was one of the worst, like, not like, because I don't like to be rude or nothing like that. Like, because obviously we've had worse or like beat downs and stuff like that. I guess it's like for the women's division, like I was really just surprised, like like the assault she put on her, and it was just a masterful performance by Natalia Silva off the back foot, whatever she wanted, like when she was getting it, and she bounced back from that, and like, she's looked great. Jasmine Jasudavicius, I really do think she can go far in this division. People always like to mention her age and stuff like that. She is 35 years old, but I think it's different with in sports. Period. Now, I think it's different. Like in the NBA, NFL, like even in like mixed martial arts, like these people are, like they're martial artists. They can keep themselves in shape. There's some people that don't start to fall off at 35 and stuff like that. If you listen to Kobe Covington, he's talking about fighting another like 7 years. So I think especially with, depending on like the person, if they really keep themselves in shape year round, a lot of fighters slack off, like they'll treat it like an off season, really rest their bodies. And some fighters put the pedal to the metal like all year round, And Jasmine Jasudavicius, she's always in shape. You can tell like from her cardio, her gas tank, she's always in shape. Her boxing has gotten better. I think she's gotten way better on the feet. We saw her versus Miranda Maverick, and she was boxing her up the whole fight, just all over her, hurting her on the feet, taking her down, just whatever she wanted. And she's coming in this fight of mine as 225 favorite. And she looks good, man. Like I do think she's looked like phenomenal in her last couple of fights. Really has hit a new stride. Really found her confidence on a 3-5 win streak, with wins over Ariane Lipski, Priscilla Cachoeira. She even survived a crazy eye poke in that fight. That was crazy. With the eye gouge and stuff like that was wild. Like people are always saying that about Priscilla. It's pretty funny. And she beat Fatima Klein, which was a great win. Of course, Fatima took that up a division. On short notice, doing the UFC a favor. But it's a great win to have, and she won by unanimous decision at that. Took a bright prospects O. And if I had to get my pick in this fight, I was going to go with Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think she can win it by decision. I think she can pressure her with a lot of pressure. Mayra Bueno Silva is really good. Like I said, her instincts really win her a lot of fights. I think if Jasmine, like if she leaves her neck out there, if she tries to be too predictable, shooting over and over, like Mayra can adjust. But I think we have seen Mayra get tired before, and when she went 5 rounds with Raquel Pennington, even like then she was already tired by like the 3rd round. Back at UFC 297, and I think that with Jasmine's pressure, her wrestling is making it a dirty fight like that. I do think she can gas her out and really get her to the ground, get some control time, and really nullify those weapons. So I was gonna go with Jasmine, JJ for sure. But how you feeling?
I'm actually super excited for this fight. I think this is a very high level female fight. Mayra Bueno Silva being at plus money is very interesting to me, saying that she just had a title shot recently and she's a top contender still. I'm picking Mayra Bueno Silva in this fight, but in my head, like I could clearly see the way Jasmine Jasudavicius wins this one. She's a Canadian. She goes forward. She puts her head down, and she has like really strong wrestling. She's just a tough fighter, and it's hard to go against. Like fighting is a tough sport, so it's hard to go against that. But Mayra Bueno Silva, she has all right striking. She's pretty gritty. She has dangerous jiu-jitsu. She has good submissions. If Jasmine gets her down, I mean, she'll pull guard. She'll sit in her guard, try and get She'll want Jasmine to get on for ground and pound, work off her back for a submission. I think that's how this plays out. I think Jasmine might knock her down or get her down. Mayra's on her back, gets her into the guard. They kind of grapple. They're sitting there. She starts working for an armbar or triangle or something. That's personally how I see this fight going. I think there's going to be a lot of that. Myra on her back, Jasmine on top. Um, that's what makes most sense to me. It's the grappler versus the wrestler, wrestler on top, grappler on the bottom. It could go either way. If Myra doesn't get that submission, though, I don't see her winning it. I'm gonna take Myra Buena Silva for the submission. I think there's a lot of value in that pick. Um, but I respect the Jasmine decision win for sure. Excited for this one.
Yeah, man, like for sure. I think it's gonna be a real test of wills in this fight. I'm really excited to see how the grappling plays out. That's what I want to see the most personally. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they really try to use the game plans against each other. Most definitely. I want to give a shout out to Tai Tai Bez who just joined us in the chat. Um, Thank you so much, bro, for coming through. Always love talking to you, Tai Tai. Great guy, always. You feel me? And even then, Tai Tai's coming in here giving his pick as well. He's also on your side, Nikki. He's going with MBS. So we'll see how it goes. She's cutting weight in this fight. She is going down to flyweight. She fought there before, but she was just challenged for the belt at bantamweight, and now she has to go back down, cutting an extra 10 pounds off the body. So we'll see how that goes. But she's a good fighter. Obviously, she's had the more high level competition. I just think with Jasmine, like this that make her a break fight for her. Of course, she's the one that's like a ranked bantamweight and stuff like that. But we're gonna see like how it would go. Like if if she was fighting like a girl who's been at the top 5, been at the top of division, stuff like that. We'll see if she's really made for that kind of competition, And moving on to the next fight, absolute banger. This is. We'll see how long this one lasts. I'm pretty interested in this one. Not gonna lie. Who isn't though? That's a UFC fan, most definitely. And for this next one, Terrence McKinney versus Damir Hadzovic. So yeah, man, T-Rex coming out this one. Want to give my congratulations to him. Word came out. He just had a second baby. So want to congratulate the father of 2. And yeah, man, I know that's definitely lit a fire under him. Like most definitely like has lit a fire under him. Like I'd be surprised if he didn't come out with a different approach compared to his other fights in this one. I know just having two mouths at home that he has to feed. And he has said this in interviews, even when he had his first baby on the Ariel Helwani show, when he was in the delivery room having the Ariel interview. But I think, what do we know about his skill set? He's a phenomenal striker, phenomenal wrestler. It's always just been his gas tank. It's always let him down in the end, unfortunately. A lot of his losses could have been wins, like the Drew Dober loss. He hurt Dober bad. In the first few minutes of the fight, first few seconds, you could say. And and Dober turned it around and put the pressure on Terrence and really finished him with TKO. And I just think Terrence, man, if he can just really maintain his gas tank, really maintain his pace, his veracity, I think he can win this fight all day. He's coming in as the younger guy. Damir Hadzovic he's coming in on a massive layoff. I think it's like 3 years since we've seen Damir Hadzovic. Some people thought he was let go off the roster at one point, but he still happens to be here. And I just think I guess I'm giving my pick already. I just think Terrence will be the younger, more athletic guy. He'll hit harder for sure. In the grappling, we've seen Damir Hadzovic get submitted before, of course, by high-level grapplers. But I do think Terrence is also a high-level grappler. I think he's a better grappler than he is a striker for sure. He does have a really good wrestling pedigree from high school. And I do think he'll be able to get him to the ground and really get a submission. I was going to go with Terrence McKinney by a first-round submission in this fight. How are you feeling?
I want to pick Terrence McKinney, and I am, but like you said, he has to figure out. I think it's all game plan. I think he trains. He has his game plan. When he gets into that fight, he just wants it. He wants to win so quick. He leaves it. I mean, he leaves it all on his sleeve in that first round. If it goes past 1.5, people are trying to bet under 1.5. If it goes past that, I mean, you lost on McKinney. I wouldn't confidently say he has that fight. I would take the vet in this one. Um, Demir has been off for what, 2 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since 2022. Lost then. Before that, 2021. Fought Renato Moicano there. He got choked out in like 20 seconds. The fight and complained, "Why did you choke me?" So it's not the highest level fighter. No knock to him. Uh, there's like a submission. There's like a grappling. So there's a good grappling problem there for him. But for McKinney, it's just like you gotta really, I don't know if it's ego or if it's just wanting to win that bad, but he has to figure that part of his fighting style out. If he really wants to have a long career, because the UFC is giving him a lot of wiggle room, they want him to be good. They know he has the potential. He has to find a way to maybe just go a fight and try for a decision win. Try and just beat someone up. Not try and give it all and finish them, but just try and beat someone up for 15 minutes. Um, I was actually talking to dudes at the gym last night. We were just talking about Thai fighters, and they were said
Mm-hmm.
in Thai culture, it's like they don't think a knockout win is like respectful. They think beating someone up for the duration of the fight, not putting them out, but just beating them up and damaging them, that is a win right there. And maybe that's what McKinney needs to really turn his career around because I mean he has the potential. They were talking about him high, like it almost felt like he had like Paddy Pimblett potential at one point, but I just don't know. It's like a skid for him. So I mean, 3 losses in your last 5, I don't know, but I'm gonna take McKinney in this one. Like I feel like you have to take McKinney in this one. Say he wins this. I put Did I put a way of method? I said round 1 knockout. So let's see. Let's see if he does
Yeah,
it.
yeah, man, and I think just with Terrence, bro, I really think it's always just been a matter of him just his approach to the game, honestly. And now I think just with the circumstances in his life, and like he knows his back is against the wall. He got a head kick knocked out. Versus Esteban Livics, and that was a devastating KO. He can't see too many more losses like that and not be competitive, or they will let him go, no matter how much of a nice person he is. It is a business at the end of the day. But I do think he can get the victory, get a bounce back win in this fight. And I do think they will give him a new contract. Absolutely. He's extremely exciting. Still super young on the roster. And he has a good fan base as well. People get excited to see him on the card and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see him fight. And like, yo, you got to, he has like the fastest knockout in lightweight history. So we can't forget about his capabilities. He knocked out Matt Favola literally in 7 seconds. We're definitely going to see what happens. Again, I think he's been training a lot, and we're going to see the dividends pay off in this fight. But moving on, though, into the next one. I don't really gotta honestly spend too long on this one. I was gonna go with Jamil Gassiev by decision. I think he's gonna control Thomas Peterson, get him to the ground. He's like a minus 400 something in this fight, something like that. No disrespect to Thomas Peterson, I just think that the wrestling is a clear advantage in this fight. Even when Gassiev had the 5-round main event, getting picked apart on the feet, he still was coming forward and trying to win the fight and stuff. He looked bad, yeah, for sure. But I think he learned from that experience, and I think Jairzinho Rosenstrike is the better striker than Thomas Peterson, but better fighter overall. But I just think that Shamil Gassiev, like, he can get the win in this fight with the control time, and I think that's how he's gonna win. So I'll take Shamil Gassiev.
Yeah, I'm taking Shamil Gaziev, of course, in this one. He's like, I don't know if people like, I don't know if you follow, but like on Twitter, he's like a phenomenon or something. He's like a urban legend on Twitter. I don't know what that's about. People love him though. I like the joke too, but I don't really understand why they picked him for it. They say he has
Mm-hmm.
like some kind of crazy physique and all this. Um, but yeah, I think for a heavyweight, that dude could push the damn pace. Um, I remember when he was fighting Martin Boudet. I mean, he looked really good in that fight. Um, the Rosenstrike fight, I gotta give him a little slack there because he did not know he was fighting at altitude. They kind of just booked him. So that's kind of unfortunate for him. Uh, Thomas Peterson, I mean, I don't really know what much to say. He lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta in the LFA. He lost to Jamal Pogues, who was fighting way under him on this card. Then he beat Muhammad Usman. Take that as you want. It's a Usman. Not Muhammad Usman isn't bad though. I'll give I think he's decent.
Dan with the strays.
Yeah, but I'll take in this one. I'll take Shamil Gaziev to win this one by knockout. Like I said, we need good heavyweights. We need heavyweights. We need good heavyweights. We need spectacular heavyweights. So we can only pray for it. Shamil, let's send him to the top, man.
I mean, we'll see what happens. They give this guy a main event in his second fight. I mean, so it's not like he was a Sakura who was a super popular fighter outside the UFC and came in got a title shot, stuff like that. It's not like this guy was just a regular heavyweight that they thought had a good debut, and it's like it was Russian, you feel me? And then they were gonna try to put him up there and see what happens, but. Either way, he's still a good fighter. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he just maintains the gas tank in this fight, and just has a good steady pace. But I think he's going to get a. I don't think I said my method. I think he'll get a second round sub in this one. Just control him. Matter of fact, second round TKO the ground.
Who are you taking?
Shamil.
Okay.
Yeah, second round TKO ground and pound.
Yeah,
most definitely. And moving on to the next one. Muhammad Naimov versus Khan Olfi. You can pick first on this one, Nikki, if you want to.
I'm taking Muhammad Naimov on this one. I think this is a very hard matchup for Olfi in this one. I don't think he's going to be able to outpower Naimov and throw him around the cage, just ragdoll him like some other opponents he has. And he's definitely not going to be able to strike with him in this fight. My pick is clear. It's simple for this one. This is one of my locks on the card. I think I got Naimov winning this one by knockout or TKO.
Yeah, now we're gonna agree on this one too. I've been impressed with him in the UFC so far. I always every time I see them on the cards, I'll get him and Muin Gafarov confused sometimes because I didn't think they look kind of similar. It's because like their hair and stuff like that. Muin Gafarov's a great fighter as well. I love watching him fight. But I was gonna go with Naimov as well by decision in this one. I think he'll be the better striker, the better wrestler. Really be able just to implement the game plan no matter where the fight goes. And he's kind of fighting in home territory in this one. So if he does go to a decision, I think he'll get the nod just to appease the guys upstairs, the big wigs. So, most definitely. And as we move on further to the main card, just want to tell y'all again, thank you so much for joining us. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as we move on to the main card phase of this breakdown. Thank y'all again for joining us. And we're going to get to it. Absolutely. Love these main card fights. This whole main card is great. I'm kind of surprised it's not on ABC, but it is a good card, most definitely. Starting out with the first. Well, I guess that other fight was on the main card.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that one was main cards. So 6 main card fights.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sometimes they'll do that, for early start.
5 prelims. Okay.
Most definitely. And starting out with this first one, this one's really, really hard. This one's pretty difficult. But you can kick off the main card, Skinny. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a good one. So like I said earlier, Mike Davis, he was in a tournament out in Thailand. The winner of the tournament gets a free membership at Tiger Muay Thai. And I mean, you got some killers out in Thailand. This dude came out on top. He beat everyone. That's a lot of competition. That's a lot of wins you don't see on that 11-2 resume. So that's even more experience right there. He's very skilled and has finish ability. For Ziam, we saw him out in Paris get that knockout win on Frivola. That one was pretty spectacular. Very sad to watch. See Coach Longo's reaction sucked. I think this one's going to be a very close fight. I saw earlier that Ziam had the lead over here from the fan predictions. I think I'm going to follow the betting lines and take Mike Davis to win this one. I don't have a method. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I would like to say performance of the night, but I'm saving that for something later on this card. Or for fight of the night, but I'm saving that for later. But I think these two are going to come out and go to war. It's going to be a very great exchange between the two. I'm going to take Mike Davis in this one. Razor sharp, though. I'm super excited for this fight. I'm interested to see where you're picking, because at first I was taking Ziam. I was confident I was going to take Ziam, but I slipped over. I slipped over literally today to Mike Davis.
Yeah, no, man, this is a close fight. I was thinking about it all week. I know it's only Wednesday, but I've been thinking about it for a while. I know, like Mike Davis, man, I just wish he was a little bit more active. I think he's a really, really talented fighter with what he's shown in the octagon. Really is like, just super athletic with his approach to the game. He kind of reminds me of like a 155 Isaac Dalgarian. I believe he's a featherweight. Isaac Dalgarian, really, really good fighter for sure. And with this fight in particular, I do think that Ferris will be the better striker on the feet. I think he'll be able to use his reach in the range, really assess the distance really well. His main issue's always been his takedown defense. He's gotten taken down a lot in some of his worst losses inside the UFC. Even with the Terrence McKinney loss, he got taken down super quick and submitted. It was like a warm knife through butter. But either way, I do think he's shown the improvements. He's still really young. Obviously he's 27, so he's gonna like improve really, really fast, especially with the hunger he has for the game. He's gonna be super active. And we see how much French MMA has evolved over the last couple of years. Especially, with guys like Cedric Doumbé, Baki, for all you hardcores who know Baki. And Cyril Gane, of course, I like Cyril Gane still as a fighter, but I know people aren't high on him like that anymore. But yeah, this is a close fight. Because I'm looking at the tail of the tape, like physically, like they're not that far apart. Mike Ferris does have a reach advantage by 2.5 inches, but in the height advantage as well. But I do think that grappling nullifies height advantages and things of that nature. And I think Mike Davis is the way better wrestler in this fight. So I was going to go with Davis. His last loss was to Gilbert Burns 5 years ago. And like I said, obviously he doesn't fight that often. But when he's in there, he does look phenomenal. So I was going to go with Mike Davis to win. I'll go by a second round submission for Mike Davis.
I like it. We're on the same boat for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got finally, people have been waiting years for Nurmagomedov versus Oliveira. We just got the wrong ones.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a legendary lightweight fight right here. It's just the wrong first names on it. Imagine Charles versus Habib.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. You just got me with that one.
Imagine that one.
Yo, Charles Oliveira. Like that would have been the one that happened, like Charles would have kept playing. I mean, because around that time, like Khabib
would have fought maybe a year longer, it would have happened. He would have been next. Who else besides Charles?
Charles was around like rank 13 at the time. He beat Tony, got up to 7. No, I forgot who he beat he beat Kevin Lee to get to number 7. Then he was 7. Then he beat Tony Ferguson, got to number 3, and then he fought for the vacant title as the number 3 ranked fighter.
When he beat Ferguson, it would have been him up next. That would have.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have gave him the fight. I think he was already improving, and they would have faced off eventually. I think Khabib would have gone anywhere, and Charles would have kept climbing, and I think they would have fought most definitely. I mean, we kind of got to see it, with Islam.
Different though, way different. I feel. I think Charles versus Khabib would play out way different.
Yeah, right.
That was like. I think it would be Khabib shooting on Charles. Oh, different time for different day. But I think Khabib would have been shooting on Charles, not like getting thrown off the cage in that weird situation with Islam. Islam's more of like of an improviser. I feel like Habib always got what he wanted in a fight, you know?
Oh yeah, dominance, pure
Yeah.
pressure. But going into this one, this is a close one, really, really close one. Oliveira's a slight underdog going into this one, but I mean, it's a close fight, man. He looked great, especially as we all know in the Bernardo Silva fight, when he knocked him out the way that he did with the beautiful flying knee. Got knockout of the year from a lot of people last year, and he's looked really good, man. Has a lot of experience outside of the UFC with a record of 21-3. I'm pretty sure all three losses. He has been knocked out. So we do know that his chin can be touched. He can be clipped. And even then, going into this fight, he's 28 years old, on a 4-5 win streak. So he has looked good. His last loss was to Ali Taleb, who was undefeated at that time. He's 12-1 now, and he fights in the PFL. Ali Taleb. Hopefully, the UFC can pick him up sometime soon, because he's also a really good fighter, Ali Taleb. But like I said, he's a really good fighter, man. Like he beat Ricky Simone in his last fight. So he's already taken off UFC veterans. He looked great on Contender Series when he got the KO over Victor Madrigal. And I think that Vinicius, his experience really does him favors, with really knowing like when to push the pace with the striking and really the instincts with his striking. He's seen a lot of different styles, and been able to implement his style, for the most part. With a lot of his wins coming by way of knockout, it's pretty crazy. But he's fighting Said Nurmagomedov. No relation to the Nurmagomedov clan, of course, but he is Russian. No matter the coincidence, they are not related. And I'm honestly really sad that he's not in the top 15, because he still has a lot of potential at 32 years old. He's in the middle of his prime right now. He turns 33 in April, so he'll still be in his prime, even come his next birthday. And I think he's looked good, man. He's still really fast. He has great crescent kicks, amazing kicks, like great submissions. Another fighter with great instincts. This fight's gonna be bonkers. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. And for me, it's a close one, man. But for me, I was gonna go with who I've thought has fought the better competition, and that was going to be Muin Gafurov. I think will be the more high level. That's Muin Gafurov. Said Magomedov. Said fought Muin in his last fight. But I was going to go with Said Magomedov. I think he's the more high level fighter. I think he's beating better competition. Wins over Cody Stamann, Saida Kakramanov. He was having some adversity in that fight, but he did win it. The win over Wayne Gafurov was really, really good. The win over Mark Striegel I thought was really good when he knocked him out in 51 seconds. I just think he's a really good fighter. And his only two losses come to Ione Barcelos and Jonathan Martinez. I think if they ran that Martinez fight back, I think that'd be a little closer this time around. Of course, we know that was 2 years ago now. And yeah, man, I was gonna go with Said Nurmagomedov. I feel anyone who is picking low dog, absolutely.
Yeah, great breakdown. I like this fight a lot. Vinicius Oliveira, he has the power advantage, definitely the striking advantage in this fight. Said, he chases a lot of submissions. He loves his guillotines. Don't shoot on that guy because he's gonna pull guillotine on you. I don't think Oliveira is going to try and take him down. I think he's going to try and strike with him. He's going to try and get up close and do damage. Said likes to play at range. That's where he's best. He likes to throw his kicks, stay at range. He's a long fighter. I would say he's the more balanced fighter. Just because he's a Nurmagomedov, I don't think he fights with the exact same style as the last name suggests, but I think he has the tool set. If he wanted to, he could break you down, get you down, ground and pound, work a submission. He can, but I don't think that's the game plan he's gonna go for. I think he stays at range, and if it gets close, hop in the clinch and try and work towards it, try and get his guillotine. I mean, he loves it, So if the fight gets close, try and clinch, throw some knees in, and try and slip it in or something, or be tricky. He has submissions up his sleeve. I'm gonna take Nurmagomedov to win this one by a decision, but I can see there's a lot of methods of finish for both fighters in this one. But I'm gonna take Nurmagomedov to win by a decision in this one.
Mm-hmm. Nah, man, great breakdown from you as well. I mean, like, we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be a close fight. It's my pick for fight of the night, low key. I think it's gonna be super explosive, especially when they start exchanging in the pocket and stuff like that. It's just gonna be cool to see how like their striking styles merge, like how they collide, like that, But moving on to the next one. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Sergey Pavlovich. Already only got 3 more fights left. Want to thank y'all again for joining us as we close out the show in a minute. Thank y'all so much for joining us again. Always love having y'all join us, and it's always a pleasure to have you watch. So 2 of the best strikers in the heavyweight division at the moment. 2 of the best heavyweight strikers in all of MMA, do I dare say. This is a close one, man. Like I'm honestly really excited to see how, like, again, these striking styles play out. We know Sergey Pavlovich likes to come forward and just try to blitz his opponents and just like ape gorilla, just BMI overpowered, like try to get whatever he wants in the first round. But when it comes to these heavyweights, these skilled heavyweights, it's really hard to do that, man. It's really hard to try to berate and really throw his weight around the way that he likes to. For those of y'all that did watch our breakdown, I forgot what card he fought Alexander Volkov on. I know
that was on the Abu Dhabi card. No,
was it 290? I don't know if it was 294 or anything like that. No,
it was way more recent.
Yeah, it was like the Robert Whittaker. I think it was the Whittaker.
He was fighting. Oh wait, I'm thinking of Gone. Wait, Volkov.
Yeah, that was when he fought. Yeah, Volkov. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was not Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. It was the Robert Whittaker and Alex Skarov card. Thought so.
Wait, Gone. I'm thinking of Volkov fought Gone. Why am I? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, you're good, bro. I was just saying, like, yeah, I only brought that up because, and you can even go to the fight, because for those of y'all that joined me on this evening when I broke this card down, that was a late night breakdown for us. that was like, I mean, I did it by myself that night, but that was like maybe 2:00 in the morning for me. And I only mentioned that because some of y'all couldn't make it that night, but I picked Volkov to win this fight. I said he wins this shit all day if it makes it out the first round. There wasn't a doubt in my mind he was gonna win it. When he survived that flurry and he made it to the second round, I knew it was over. He started picking them apart, landing head kicks. It's like he looked great, he looked phenomenal. And he should be fighting for the belt next, unfortunately. But you can make the case he got robbed in his last fight. But yeah, moving back to the present, of course, had to do a quick flashback for a second. So yeah, man, when it comes to Pavlovich right now, still assessing the current present day skill set. He's still a good boxer. He still has great power. I mean, he's coming off 2 losses, but look at who he lost to, and he's still a great striker, really great fast hands, great takedown defense. We saw that in the Curtis Blades fight. Even though Blades didn't get to really shoot the takedowns the way we're accustomed to, he's only shown great takedown defense inside of the cage. We know he can be hurt, though. We know he was hurt by Volkov and was knocked out by Tom Aspinall in the first round. I do think that Aspinall has championship level power, so I do think that is something totally different than what he's accustomed to feeling. But yeah, man, again, like, he's a good fighter. Prefers to strike, but can wrestle. And with Jairzinho Rozenstruik, I think this is a pretty close fight. I think for anyone wanting to make a bet, he's the one to bet on. I think for striking, I think he's the better technical striker in this fight. I truly do believe that. I think he's better. I think on the feet, he has the better technical striking in the combinations. Like, he can survive on the feet more. Like, Sergey has to try to like get those flurries off and try to close the distance. I think Jairzinho's more versatile in his approach, or he can strike from a distance and things of that nature. blow for blow, I think the power is gonna be. I mean, because when Sergey was knocking out those guys, like it was like Tai Tuivasa who came back too early, Derek Lewis who we've seen knocked out before. Like as soon as he hit Tom Aspinall, who had a chin, who had him hurt like that, Tom like ate that. He ate them punches. Not saying this guy doesn't have KO power, but people were trying to compare him to the Predator at one point, and I don't think that was ever the case. You feel me? Um, like I said, every heavyweight has power. You feel me? But if he hit that hard, he would have knocked out Tom Aspinall the moment he got two flush punches to the chin, and Tom was perfectly fine. Um, and Volkov was good too. Volkov survived all those punches. Like he wasn't like he was curling up or he had to take a minute to recover. He was breezing through in that fight, barely took any damage. Um, and yeah, so with this fight in particular, and I only mentioned all that to show, but to say that I think Jairzinho might hit a little harder. Than Pavlovich. Obviously, all heavyweights hit hard, like I said, but I think like Jairzinho, his power has like more devastating in the past. I mean, again, I give context to all Pavlovich's KOs, but I do think that Jairzinho does hit a little bit harder. Now, going to my pick in this fight, I was gonna go with Jairzinho, man. Like most definitely, I was gonna go with Rosenstrike. I was thinking about this all week. You feel me? Like, I just think the betting odds are pretty crazy, man. I get it. We've seen him KO'd before. Like, the only time we ever saw him like really out like that, like he was by Francis Ngannou, and he was 20 seconds at UFC 249. It was an absolute devastating knockout for Jairzinho Rosenstrike. We know he's still dangerous. We saw him finish Alistair Overeem in a fight that he was absolutely losing. I watched that whole thing live. And he got like a late TKO, you could say. It ripped Alistair Overeem's lip wide open. You could see his teeth on his top lip. It was really crazy. I just think he's still a good striker. He's still really dangerous. He's still in really good shape. He won't be at that much of a size disadvantage. Now, reach-wise, Pavlovich
crazy.
Reach. Come on.
That's 6 inches of reach.
Come on. Pavlovich does have the reach advantage. Absolutely, he has the reach advantage for sure. This isn't a hot take pick. I think whoever lands first in this fight can win it. And Rosenstrike being as good as he is as a striker, I think he can counter strike in this fight. So we're gonna see how it goes. It's a close one, in my opinion. I don't pay attention to betting odds, just numbers. Like, who cares? Like, I mean, these guys weigh about the same. I mean, the reach is like, yeah, I get it, 84 to 78, but I mean, that's still 78 still a pretty long reach. So, and we're gonna see how it goes because they're gonna be like right in the pocket. So, like, we'll see how it goes. You feel me?
It's only 6 inches, bro. I said it's nothing, bro. Like,
no,
nothing, right? Like, it's only 6 inches. Like,
but I'm saying, but I think that Pavlovich is gonna flurry and close the distance. I think all Pavlovich has to do is just counter and just like knock him the fuck out. I just think just land that shit. You feel me? But yeah, man, I was gonna go with Rosenstrike. I don't think this makes it out the first round, bro. So I'm gonna go with the first round KO.
I don't think this fight makes it out the first round either. I'm taking Pavlovich, but not on some like just like, oh, he's the see. I think those 2 losses really humbled him a lot. He has a great team. They're gonna game plan. They're gonna bring him back down to earth. He was like the boogeyman for a little bit before those 2 knockouts. People were scared of him. Now maybe they're not scared of him, but the books know he's still a killer. I mean, he didn't lose any power. He's still the scariest, he's still one of the scariest guys in the UFC. Still one of the best heavyweights in the world. I think he could still get this knockout. The thing with Rosenstrike, it took him 4 rounds to knock out a gassed out Shamil Gaziev, and that doesn't give me confidence. If it took you 4 rounds to knock out Shamil,
I mean, he has a thick head,
Look at that dude Pavlovich's jaw. It's like fucking super, like mega jaw. The dude from Timmy Turner. That's the big ass jaw.
It's a Crimson
The
Chin.
Crimson Jaw, dude. But like, I'm taking Pavlovich in this one. Yeah, not much more to say. I'm pretty confident in that picture. I think that's a performance of the night knockout.
Damn. Like, we'll see how it goes. You feel me? Either way, like, I do think that Rosenstruck can get it done. It's a close 5 minutes. Heavyweight can get clipped, hurt. It doesn't matter. Moving on to the next one. A really, 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 really interesting matchup. I kind of wish it was 5 rounds, to be honest with you. You can break it down, Nikki. Go ahead.
We got Shara Bullet, the one-eyed pirate, versus MVP Michael Venom Page. This fight is super exciting. You got two of the highest level, most entertaining kickboxers we have in the UFC. This is MVP fighting at 185, weight class 15 pounds heavier from his natural 170 welterweight class. He said this is a one-time thing. 1 second.
Yeah, apparently it's a one-time thing. Like, we'll see. I think he's not gonna. I think he's gonna enjoy not having to cut that weight. Like, we know at 37 years old for MVP, like we already know, like, he's definitely gonna enjoy being able to snack a little bit more and not have to cut that weight to 170. But we'll see how it goes.
My bad. Yeah. I was saying though he's not fighting at his natural weight class, but people are there's both sides. People think he might not look as good as Quick at 185. People think he's gonna look better and stronger. That we won't know till he hops in the cage. But he's a veteran. He's 37 years old. He's done this a long time. He's not gonna have weight cut issues. You know that. This fight's interesting. You can't. Shara Bullet is very talented and he's good with one eye, but you can't see a kick coming on that side of the head. You never know. He could get flash knocked out. They're both, phenomenal guys. I think Shara does have the better kicks. They're a little more snappy, a little quicker. MVP, I mean, look at that range difference. Just like we said, that's 6 inches again. I think it's going to be even more evident in this fight, the range difference, just how far out MVP could stay and hit. But you also got to look at the Ian Gary fight. He wasn't doing that much damage on Ian Gary in that fight. I thought he outstruck him, and he did, but I don't think he did much damage. The Kevin Holland fight was different. He was stunting on Kevin Holland. There's no doubt about that. Both fighters in this fight have great elbows. I think this one can be a banger. It also might be boring. You never know. I don't know if this is a knockout. I think this is a decision. I think since we're out here in in Saudi Arabia, I think the edge does go to Shara Bullet if it's that close. I gotta take Shara Bullet. Like I kind of want to pick on MVP, but like it's very hard to. I don't think this fight favors him. I think Shara is way more damaging of a fighter. It's hard. Yeah. Everything he throws feels like it could just put you out. MVP is just super. He's super entertaining. I think this is going to be a good fight. I hope it's not one of those boring touch fights, like point fights. I hope it's like a real. They're trying to kill each other. What's up, Vulcan? How you doing, brother?
What's up, Vulcan? Thank you so much for joining us, bro. Always love talking to you, my man. Always see you in other chats. I saw you over at the Golden Octagon a couple minutes ago. Love watching their stuff, most definitely. And yeah, man, like, again, just like how you said, you give a great breakdown. I guess I don't have much else to say. I just want to see how far Shara can really go. I want to see him be at the heart of the middleweight division. I really want to see him. How old is he? He's 30 years old now, so he has plenty of time in the middleweight. Like, we'll start to see the prime, like, Shara around like 32, 33 and stuff like that, when he's at his absolute fastest and, like, at the best shape. But he'll still be young with more UFC experience, like the culmination of what makes a prime ends in all sports, and I'm just really excited to see how he's going to perform when he gets the higher level competition. This is a test for him. They want to see how he deals with a funky style like this, and they want to keep giving him fun fights. I would think they will really like make him zigzag through the wrestlers. I don't know if they'll really give him a wrestler like that.
Like a Bo Nickel.
I think like that's the only time they would do it, only because like the spectacle, the pure spectacle around that fight, and they would want to see who's the better prospect is. That's a tailor made either the pay per view opener or it's the feature bout on a pay per view for two unranked fighters. So I think Shara's close to getting ranked. So at least in my opinion. So I do think they're gonna push him. I think he has all this hype. They're still testing him. He's still in the tutorial phase of his UFC career. And I think this might be the last fight. That's why it's in a big spot on a co-main event. He's gonna get a really big pop. This fight is gonna be the one that makes them want to give him a big fight and keep him at the top of the division. They would love to put him in a main event. He'd blow up if they had that face everywhere. But as a professional athlete, he's a UFC fighter. So now you gotta pick the time to try to watch him fight live, and he has an entertaining style, man. So it's I think the whole recipe is there for him to become a star in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He has the age. I don't go out what people will always be. Oh, he's 30, he's old, man. Fuck that. Come on, bro. It's not he's not 21 doesn't mean he can't go on to be a star by 33 and stuff like that. I think he's gonna have a really good long UFC career. It's gonna be super. Sorry about that. It's gonna be super entertaining. And I'm really excited to see how far he goes. I got Shara Bullet by decision. I think he's just gonna really assess the distance the first round, really see what MVP is gonna do, and then turn up the aggression at the end. And I think he'll land the better strikes, the harder strikes. I got Shara Bullet by decision.
All right, real quick. Vulcan asked, what are our locks tonight? I think I said my lock was Muhammad Naimov. I'm super confident in that pick. That's my one fight. What about you, Anton?
I think we had agreed on that was Muhammad Naimov. I'm pretty sure that was the one that we both were picking to win. Either him or dare I say Shamil Gassiev. I hope so. I do think he could be a lock, most definitely. A minus 400 favorite. I do think he can get it done relatively early. And yeah, I think he's definitely going to get it done for sure. Most definitely. And thank you again for joining us, Vulcan. Always a big supporter of ours, always being positive and just being a nice person, bro. So we always love talking to you, most definitely. And please continue to be yourself, bro. Never change. Absolutely. And going into our main event of the evening, man, big storyline we got here. It's pretty crazy. We casually just have one of the greatest fighters ever on a fight night. Of course, it's not any old fight night. It's in the middle. It's in the Middle East. It's a Riyadh season, so it's a massive card. Absolutely, got a lot of money behind this. And yeah, man. The last stop in there is Israel Adesanya. One of the greatest fighters ever. Absolutely the second greatest middleweight of all time. Arguably the greatest, you could say. And yeah, he really is a great fighter, obviously. Arguably the greatest striker in UFC history. Of course, Alex Pereira has came in and made that kind of a massive, really big argument, you could definitely say. But they've gone back and forth. I know people are gonna be like, oh, but he's beating him. How can you say that? With the record and stuff like that. But I mean, if we're going off the rounds, Israel's won more rounds against Alex Pereira than Pereira's won against Israel. He won the first 4 rounds in the first meeting at UFC 281. And that was 4 rounds. And then Pereira won the 5th round. And then he won the first round of the second fight and he lost in the second round. So Israel's actually won more rounds against Pereira. I'm not rationalizing shit. I'm just saying he was still competitive, extremely competitive in those wars, regardless of the end result. And yeah, man, obviously he's a great striker. I think he's still inspired. A lot of people think that's the biggest question coming into this fight. What does he still have to prove? I think Israel's a full-bred fighter. He loves to fight. Even when he was in kickboxing, he had 5 losses. You feel me? He was 75-5. And yeah, got knocked out before. He's a true martial artist. He knows it's a journey. And at 35, he knows he can still make money, still compete, and they pay him a lot of money. Best believe it. He's one of the UFC's highest paid fighters. Definitely top 3 highest paid fighters on the roster for sure. And I still think he's looked really good. He looked amazing in the Dricus du Plessis fight at UFC 305. He was landing spinning back elbows and stuff like that, looking like vintage Israel. He's looking like the style bender. Most definitely his namesake for sure. Looking great, like 2019 all over again. And yeah, like not really much to say about his skill set. Everybody knows. Great box, great hands. You could definitely say I can't say too great, phenomenal boxing because he has been boxed up before. We have seen it happen against other great boxers like Sean Strickland and stuff like that. But he has great distance management with an 80-inch reach. Great leg kicks, really, really fast striker even now. Has the best variety of strikes inside of the middleweight division even now. Absolutely, with how he can mix it all up from the elbows to the hands, to the legs, the knees, question mark kicks, striking backwards, all that kind of stuff. Still extremely dynamic in my opinion. And yeah, he's a really good striker still. I think he has really good takedown defense. People think he doesn't. Yeah, he definitely has good TD. He stuffed like 5 of DDP's takedowns. He even stuffed his face to the mat at one point after timing all of the takedowns. And he still look good, man. Even at 35, of course, he's not the 28 anymore, like when he won the interim title. He still looks really, really good. Still a great striker, great fighter. Great resume, greatest middleweight of the modern era without a doubt. 2-time champion, defended the belt 5 times. Like he has like 7 belts at home in total. 8 belts if you count the interim belt. But he has 8 belts, 8 championship rings at home. He's a great fighter. And going to his opponent in this one, the up-and-comer Nasruddin Imavov, the Russian sniper. Even though he trains out of France, he is Dagestani. And he's a great striker himself, has pinpoint accuracy with his strikes. On a great run as of late, with wins over Brendan Allen, Jared Cannonier. Regardless of whatever you want to say about the stoppage, it was a good win. The way he was performing in the matchup, and yeah, like he's really. The only real holes he's shown in this game has been like his gas tank and stuff like that. We have seen him wither when the fight has gotten really crazy, really gotten pent up in the pace. But he's still a great striker under Ferdinand Lopez. He's really perfected. Hit like really that part of his game with his striking. Like I said, he has great distance management himself. Regardless of the 5-inch reach disadvantage, he'll be perfectly fine with trying to manage the distance with Israel. I truly do believe that because and he's also a really fast striker as well. Tall, just like Izzy, and he's the younger fighter. You could definitely say he's the hungrier fighter. Never have been champion before. He knows if he wins this, it's a guaranteed title shot, 1,000%. If he wins this, he's fighting for the middleweight title next. You would have du Plessis versus Imavov. You'd finally see him on a pay-per-view, and that would definitely be a main event, absolutely. And yeah, it's a great fight, man. Coming out of the MMA factory, he has looked better and better in his last performances. Versus some people think Israel is stagnating, training with Eugene Behrman and stuff like that. I still think Eugene Behrman's a good coach. We see that Dan Hooker has had a resurgence in lower in the lightweight division. And he's looking good. He's fighting Justin Gaethje coming up. So we're gonna see how that plays out. That's like for Dan Hooker at least. That's absolutely a title eliminator. And yeah, man, this is a great fight. A great collision of striking, like how I've been saying throughout the card. Real striking heavy card, this one is, absolutely. And no better way to close it out than with 2 high-level strikers in the main event. And yeah, in my pick, I was going to go with the former champion. I was going to go with Israel Adesanya. I think he's still the better fighter. He still looked really good, man, regardless of being 35 years old. I still think just him, like, wanting to not let these dudes get, like, the name on his resume, he's still really inspired to win these fights. Absolutely. He was looking great in his last fight, even against the champion. He was giving him problems. He's still a real cerebral fighter. He was going to the body on Dricus, making Dricus wheeze and stuff. There was one point Dricus didn't want to get up off the ground. He was taking a knee, and the ref had to get him up and stuff like that. It says Dricus really willed himself through to get him to the ground and get the submission. It was a buzzer beater. Like, if Dricus didn't get that, I think Israel would have really won that fight if Dricus didn't get that submission. And yeah, I think Israel. I think he's gonna look good in this fight. If he loses, I 1000% say this on camera. I think we see him retire in the cage if he does lose this Saturday morning. Well, on Saturday morning. And we're gonna see how it goes, man. I think he will win it though via decision. It's gonna be a classic Israel performance. Really pick him apart all 5 rounds. Look like the better, faster striker. And we'll see what happens, man. Imavov is gonna have his moments. I think he'll land some good strikes here and there. Absolutely, it won't be a blowout, but I do think that Israel, being the favorite, is indicative of what's going to happen. I think he's faced the better competition, like Robert Whittaker twice, Paulo Costa, Jerry Cannonier, Dricus Duplessis, Sean Strickland, Jan Blachowicz when he went up to 205. Like, he's fought all these dudes, all these names. Alex Pereira 3 times. Of course, like multiple occasions. You feel me? Of course, twice in MMA, 4 times, but twice in MMA. Fought him with no hesitation, and he's fought all these dudes. So I still think he wants to be here. He still wants to fight. I don't know if he'll get a title shot. Dricus and like that fight was really close until it wasn't. But he was finished, and it's really hard to fight the champion off getting finished. But we do know that Dana and the brass love Israel. Absolutely, they love him. They made him a lot of money. He was a super active champion when he was the champion. He fought at UFC 243, like 248, like 259, like 253 when he fought Paulo Costa. Like, he's always been a really active champion. He gave everyone what he wanted until people turned against him and stuff like that. And I'm excited to see him come back in this fight. And yeah, I think he wins it by decision. Absolutely. Who you picking in the last fight of this evening?
Yeah, man, last fight of the night. So yeah, you got Imavov, scary fighter. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a scary dude. He has the ability to do it to Izzy, man. Like, I genuinely believe that from the bottom of my heart. I'm taking Israel Adesanya to win this one also by decision. But it depends which Izzy you get. Do you get the Izzy that had a great camp, worked hard, and is going to come out and he's not going to gas out in 3 rounds? I think he learned from that Dricus fight. He learned that there is going to be he is going to have to use that takedown defense again.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to be tired, and he just has to be better. I mean, Volk was up there saying he's never seen Izzy work harder than this. Hopefully that's true. We know that Israel Adesanya outskills Imavov just on paper. That is not like something outlandish to say. On paper, when we're ranking them, Israel Adesanya is the better fighter than Nasruddin Imavov. Like, you can't debate that. There's no argument to that. Israel has proved it. He has 8 belts, like you said. He's defended his belt 7 times. He knocked out Alex Pereira. Who's done that in the UFC besides him? Like, he lost to Strickland, yes. He spoke out about that, though. He was at the top, the stress of being the champion, and it was weighing on him for so long, and now it's off his shoulders. And the Dricus fight, he came back. He wanted his belt back. I think that from that we learned that his biggest weakness is his jiu-jitsu. He really doesn't have – he's not good at guarding submissions. That's his problem. He gives his back up too quick. He doesn't fight the hands off. So, yes, if Nasruddin came out as like a daggy wrestler from Dagestan, he just came out and tried to wrestle fuck Adesanya. Yeah, that's the path to victory. He also could be, maybe he beats him on the feet. I personally don't think so. I think maybe he could sneak in around, maybe 2. I think this is like a 4, maybe even all 5 rounds for Adesanya. Maybe Adesanya doesn't have the best first round. Maybe he kind of feels it out. Sometimes Adesanya likes to feel out in the first round. That's not something new. I think Adesanya could get a majority decision in this one, and it's not crazy to say. I mean, that last fight, he had such a boxing approach to fight Dricus. He knew he couldn't throw those kicks because of the takedown. He was scared of the takedown. As you can see why he doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu. He got subbed in that fight. But I'm pretty confident Adesanya could get back in the win column on this one. I think that was all the weights off his shoulders now. He's a free soul. I like this one a lot. But not counting on Nasruddin. I think he is dangerous. But that's it. That's the end of the night, guys. Ty, I see you in here. Your locks are Hamdi and Izzy. Izzy being a lock, super confident. It's not just me and Izzer's Adesanya. Vulcan, you want to read off some comments? I'm just talking my ass off.
Oh yeah, oh nah, for sure. Yeah. I'll go out the full screen. Yeah, man, most definitely. Like, and I see why you would say that, Vulcan. Like, and again, like he's getting older. He's getting older, man. Like 35 years old is 35 years old. Absolutely. Like, regardless, however we feel about it, especially being in the middleweight division, he's cutting a lot of weight. I still think he is cutting a lot of weight. I think he walks around like not too heavy, probably like 210, something like that, 205, like 20 pounds. It's always a comfortable weight cut, but 35 is 35, and he had a lot of wars, man, from kickboxing to mixed martial arts, So it's getting to a point where he's closer to the end of his career than he is the big, like the prime and stuff like that. So I can see why you would say that for sure. Like and like, yeah, and like that's the thing. Like, I personally think at the end of the day, like I think Israel's gonna keep his composure. And I don't think it's gonna bother him like that with like any pressure or anything like that. There's gonna be many things Imavov can show Israel that he has not seen already. So I think he'll be prepared anywhere the fight goes, even if it does hit the ground like that. I do think he will be prepared for it. Absolutely. And and I know that Persia Menace, thank you so much for joining us, first and foremost. First time seeing you on the channel. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. I love having you here. For Fizia versus Gamrot.
That got confirmed?
I don't know if the rematch got announced or anything. Like they're scheduled before.
Hold on.
If we missed that live or something like that, and that is indeed happening, I always told myself that I thought Fiziev won in that first round. Of course, he's coming off an injury, a really long layoff at that point. But I do think that Fiziev can win that fight. I think he's the way better striker on the feet, and he has good takedown defense. He's really physically strong at his 5'8" frame in the lightweight division. So I do think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns, pick him apart, be faster. We've seen Gamrot get hurt in his recent fights, so I do think his holes on the feet are starting to widen a little bit as he gets older. And I would probably pick Rafael Fiziev in that fight, to be quite honest with you.
I'm definitely taking Rafael Fiziev. Listen, I'm taking all Muay Thai fighters at this point. Fuck it. I love Muay Thai, so I'm taking all the Muay Thai fighters now.
Trains at Tiger. And yeah, the boys are still going back and forth about the fight. And yeah, man, again, it's competitive. And like, I get it, man. Like, we're gonna see how it goes. Like, I'm honestly really excited to see this one play out. I like it that I can watch this card while eating breakfast. So I'm pretty excited for that for sure. But if that's all for you, Nikki, that's it for me tonight.
Yeah, I gotta get some dinner in my system because I'm starving.
Absolutely. Well, thank y'all again for joining us. This was episode 38 of the MMAHOLICS podcast. Again, excuse me. Thank y'all again for giving us your time. You could have been anywhere else, but you were here with us, and we will always appreciate you for that. And thank y'all so much for joining us. God bless you. Good night, and enjoy your family. Stay safe out there. Stay warm too, by the way. Most definitely. It's cold. Cold out here in Georgia, on all the East Coast. So y'all have a nice night and stay safe.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.